everyone. I'm Padmini Arhant, author, editor, presenter, padminiarhant.com, prakriti.padminiarhant.com, representing the Divine Mission. I would like to briefly touch base on Gaza War, the ongoing genocide, as it has been confirmed many times over. The genocide in Gaza, with Israel having commenced bombing and shelling of Rafah despite international condemnation, and that goes for even Israel's staunch ally, United States, at least in public, happened to weigh in on Israel's attack on Rafah. Regardless, Israel has gone ahead and been bombing Rafah as well. I'm going to talk about this topic in detail, including the peace proposal from Hamas, but it is essentially Palestinian peace proposal when you really come to think of it, since the aggression began on October 7, 2023. The relentless bombing, shelling of Gaza was not necessarily targeted at Hamas alone. The Israeli aggression, aided and funded by United States, and that goes for other Western allies with their military arsenal. The indiscriminate bombing in Gaza since October 7, now running into 5th month, had targeted predominantly civilians, and among them children. Children casualties alone are estimated anywhere between 11,000. That was actually a while ago. It could perhaps be even higher right now. Children casualties have been mounting from day one, and that goes for Israel's defunding Gaza for humanitarian aid, and that was involving United Nations Relief Works Agency, UNRWA, with Israel's false report that UNRWA, that is United Nations Relief Work Agency, the humanitarian aid that was being provided through that UN agency, was falsely accused by Israel, claiming that some of the staff members of that UN agency were allegedly involved on October 7 Hamas infiltration, which is yet to be proven. Israel has not yet provided any evidence to that effect that UNRWA, or UNRWA, the acronym for the UN Humanitarian Aid Agency in Palestine, that's Gaza, was abruptly defunded by United States and Western allies just at the false alarm raised by Israel without even seeking verifiable evidence. And when that was requested from other international community, members from international community, whether as human rights activists or those who have been following the Gaza war, when they had stepped up and requested Israel to provide evidence, Israel is yet to provide any evidence regarding UNRWA involvement. That is, members, Palestinian workers in Gaza accused of being involved with Hamas on October 7th, that's in Israel, the Hamas infiltration. Citing that false accusation by Israel, the UN humanitarian aid was defunded immediately by the Western allies of Israel. But then Israel's funding continues from United States. The $3.8 billion, the annual aid, has not been suspended or withheld despite Israel's relentless bombing and shelling since October 7 in Gaza, and that goes for rest of Palestine, like East Jerusalem and elsewhere, where there has been tremendous violence from Israeli forces as occupiers, and that goes for the settlers in West Bank as well. Despite the relentless violence that has continued since October 7, there has been no suspension of financial aid by United States, and that goes for the military weapons from Western allies to Israel. There is a sharp distinction, rather discrimination, when it comes to treating warfare and aggression towards civilians. The UN humanitarian aid has been denied funding just at Israel's behest, again without having provided any evidence up until now. On the contrary, the aid to Israel continues regardless of Israel's war crimes, and the International Court of Justice confirmed ascertained genocide, and as such the international community, the citizens around the globe, they do regard the ongoing aggression by Israel as nothing but genocide. This is the topic that needs to be discussed in detail. That was done earlier on the same topic with Hamas peace proposal in 3 stages, and that peace proposal calls for permanent ceasefire. Obviously, nothing can be done unless there is ceasefire, and that is the most important and preliminary step prior to even beginning any talks on this issue. The ceasefire is definitely a #1 priority which has been neglected so far by Israel. Israel has escalated violence by moving towards more territories from northern Gaza to southern Gaza, and then from there to Rafah now. There is nothing left of Gaza in terms of Israel's targets, and the bombing and shelling continues with more casualties, all happening despite international community demanding a ceasefire which has not been adhered to, and it has been just completely rejected by Israel and the Western allies so far, which is definitely a tragedy, not only in terms of the innocent civilian population paying the price for no fault of theirs. It is also a travesty of justice when it comes to Western evaluation of their own allies' aggression against innocent people, and that to unarmed civilians in a densely populated territory like Gaza. This is the topic that will be discussed further in detail, especially with the focus on the peace proposal. Like I mentioned, the peace proposal presented by Hamas is not necessarily the Hamas peace proposal. As a matter of fact, it has to be regarded as the Palestinian peace proposal, since the Palestinian lives have been claimed and consumed in this ruthless, merciless bombing, sparing no moment and providing no opportunity for the innocent civilians to even run for their life. Children have suffered enormously, and then there is also the starvation, infection, lack of medical facilities, with hospitals and health centers bombed continuously from day one. This has been an unstoppable, brutal, enormously focused on civilian areas with residential buildings, schools, hospitals, and all the public premise and facilities are the ones that have been targeted in the 5-month aggression by Israel, backed by Western allies with United States in the front line. I will touch base on this topic in detail, and that will follow in due course. That would be pretty soon. I appreciate your attention and interest. Thank you.